Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. Greetings, old school magic players. Welcome to a Saturday night with the Four Horsemen. Tonight we're going to be doing some tournament number 12 semi-finals matches. We've wrapped up the quarterfinals match with our last match this evening. We're going to have a couple of the top 8 players joining us here in a minute. This is our 12th tournament. We're going to be wrapping this thing up next week. Check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com for details. We just finished the last quarterfinals match this evening, and you can see we're in the final week of this tournament. It's been a really great tournament, great turnout, really great creative decks. Our next tournament is going to be starting, tournament number 13, is going to be starting March 29th, running through April 28th. We've got an updated banned and restricted list that's really going to open up the format for a lot of aggressive creature decks, combo decks, and we think it's going to really make the format expand and evolve in a positive way. So please check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com and just click on tournaments and go to tournament 13 for details. Also, you can join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for our Old School Magic meetups. We play casual games, test decks, as well as get in our tournament matches. We do this on Whereby, and it's usually hosted by John and Peter, a couple of our Four Horsemen Rules Committee member guys. Feel free to check us out. It's a lot of fun every Thursday night. All right, for tournament number 12, let's get into the semifinals brackets and see where we're at. This is how the quarterfinals broke down. They were all sweeps, which I think this is one of the first times we've had 100% 2-0 sweeps in all the quarterfinals matches. It's not uncommon to have a couple, but this time every game was a sweep, complete blowouts, and John, Barry, Peter, and Philippe progressed to the semifinals. So let's take a look at their decks real quick. Barry is playing a Living Plane Control Diamond Valley deck, and John is playing a Mono Blue Flyers Time Elemental control deck. Plain Control Valley versus Mono Blue Dr. No. Alright, let's look at Barry's deck here. 4 Mana Drains, 4 Divine Offerings, 3 Living Plains. 3 Divine Offerings and Living Plains. 2 Tabernacles. Candelabra is very cool to see. 3 Urnums, 3 Dibs, 3 Sinbads, 3 Sylvans, 3 Old Mans, 3 Preachers, 3 Rubinias, 3 Diamond Valleys, and 2 City of Shadows. Very cool to see those. 4 Tundras, 4 Traps, 4 Savannas, a Caracas, Pendlehaven, and Teleria. Some basic lands in case of Blood Moon, forests, some plains, islands, and then we've got, I guess these upside down cards are the sideboard cards. So we've got an extra Urnum and Dib, a Felden's Cane, 4 Whirling Dervish. This is upside down. What is this card? Lifeblood. Yes, that's Lifeblood from Legends. It gains life, I think, when a mountain is tapped. And then
hey, what's up, man?
Some angry mobs, as well as some.
Hey, how's it going, Barry?
Good. Sweet.
Sounds like the guys are joining in now. It's really good timing. Let's quickly look at John's deck, and let me just let these guys know. Hey guys, I'm just finishing up the deck tech. Give me just a minute and we'll be ready to get started. Just a quick look at John's deck. This is a really cool build that's an evolution of some of John's earlier Mono Blue Flyer builds with robots. The tweak here is the 4 Time Elementals, which are really difficult to deal with. Once they stick, you can bounce, a permanent every turn. If you can't get rid of them, they're a real problem. Everything else here is pretty standard from John's earlier flying robots deck. The Azure Drakes, the Clockwork Avians, Triskelions, The Knowledge Vault's a new up-and-coming card of Four Horsemen. It's kind of the brain geyser of Four Horsemen. And then in the sideboard, Old Men of the Sea, Flash Counters, a Drafter's Restoration, which is really cool, a Feldman's Cane, Felbor's Stone, Tana's Coffin, a Diamond Valley, and Island of Whack Whack. All right, so let's get into the match since the guys aren't here. All right, guys. Good luck to both of you. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Glad you could jump in and play with us. Barry, the semifinals and finals tend to go really fast because usually by this time everybody's really interested in getting in and playing these matches when the decks are so competitive.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. All right. So I was taking a peek at your deck there, John. It's pretty nice, man. I think this one's going to have a little bit of trouble.
A lot of people have had trouble with John's deck.
Yeah. I think he's on mute. I don't know if he's saying anything or not, but...
No, there's a lot of noise in my house right now, so I'm just going to keep muted while I'm...
Oh, okay. No sweat.
Although I don't think Chad's actually going to use our audio, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, once we get started, guys, I will I'll mute from my side so I won't hear your volume, and I'll just be commentating for the stream and the video while you guys are playing.
All right.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of this matchup? Barry, you think you're going to have some trouble, eh?
Yeah, I think he's going to get me. The Triskelions and the counterspells, I think, will give me trouble.
Well, and those time elementals are also very difficult to deal with. If they stick around, they can bounce a permanent every turn, and that can be really, really problematic to deal with.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get something out and steal it, but if it gets countered, then it's just going to be trouble.
Yeah. Well, and we see here when we look at the top 8 decks, we've got 4 mana drains in 2 of them, so it's no surprise that mana drain has been a big challenge for a long time, and restricting it, we think, is going to open up a lot more creativity in deck play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, well, I will go on mute on my end, and I wish both of you guys good luck.
All right, thanks, man.
Okay, cheers. All right. This is going to be an interesting match. I really think. I think Barry's being humble. I think he does have a shot, between having his control elements and being able to grab creatures, and big creatures too. He's got Preacher, Old Man of the Sea, and Rabinia. He's got Diamond Valley, so he does have some ways to, deal with John's army. And John's going to have Serendib Efreets and Ghost Ships and Azure Drakes, as well as Time Elementals, all coming down. He's going to have to protect them with the mana drains. All right, so Barry wins. Barry's going second here. John drops an island, and Barry drops a tropical. You see those really cool Arabian Nights islands that John Echoberry worked up for the Four Horsemen players. We give these away as participant cards. This was the original Arabian Nights Island artwork that was part of a Inquest magazine special, April Fool's kind of thing. All right, so John doesn't miss a drop on the islands and gets a third turn Serendib right out of the gate.
Oh.
Okay, we are back. There's big storms here in Texas right now, and we had a power blip there. But we are quickly back online here. Didn't miss much. Barry played a Preacher, and John has his Serendib out. John tried to boomerang the Preacher, and Barry was able to mana drain it. Now, that gives Barry the ability to tap the Preacher and take control of the Serendib, but John has a boomerang for Barry's Preacher. Okay, so Barry drops Diamond Valley. This is critical to his deck. It's what allows him to steal creatures, sacrifice them, gain life. He can just, with Preacher, he can steal creatures over and over and over. Barry drops also his Sylvan Library. This is a really good card to get early. It'll allow Barry to look at the top 3 cards of his library and dig around, and maybe he can get more optimal card draws. Very, very useful to get this early. He also plays the Sinbad. This card is fantastic with Sylvan Library. Sinbad allows you to tap and look at the top, draw the top card of your library, and if it is show it. If it is a land, you draw it, and if it is a non-land, you discard it. So it looks like John is he's thinking if he wants to mana drain that Sinbad. It's going to give Barry real good drawing capabilities, as long as he can leave a land on the top of his deck, which since he's got 4 lands, it shouldn't be a problem. He'll be able to draw 2 lands every turn, or 2 cards every turn. 1 land with the Sinbad, and then 1 for his regular draw. Okay, and then John comes in quickly with the Serendib, hitting for another 3, taking Barry down to 14. And now comes the dreaded Time Elemental. Oof, brutal. All right, so Barry looks at his top 3 here. He doesn't have any direct damage in his deck. And given the fact that he doesn't have a Preacher out already, he cannot steal the Time Elemental straight away. He's going to need a way to deal with that Time Elemental pretty quickly here. And there's not really a good way to do it. Okay, so Barry plays Urnham Djinn. That is, a pretty good blocker. It is going to... John... Yeah, it's going to draw out John's mana drain. John does definitely not want to see a Urnham Djinn beaten down right now. So Barry draws a card. It's a Diamond Valley. He plays it for his second Diamond Valley. Not the best top deck card, but it gets it off the top of the deck. And now, so he's drawn 1 card. He got a land off the top. So now he gets to dig 3 deeper. So that's the beauty of Sylvan Library with Sinbad. You look at those top 3 cards with Sylvan, and it's the same 2. You only really dig in 1 after you've seen it. This way he's looking at 2 additional cards every turn, and drawing 2 cards per turn usually. Alright, so John uses the mana drain from the Urnham Djinn and plays 4 to cast the Knowledge Vault, which is a great card for drawing, and attacks in with the Dib, hitting for another 3. That's 9 damage from that Dib alone for Barry, taking him down to 11. Alright. Barry is in real trouble here. That boomerang that John had for his Preacher was just right on time. So Barry taps the Sinbad, drawing a land and playing it. But he's in a real tricky situation here. Even if he plays something like a Preacher, it's just going to get bounced by the Time Elemental. It does cost John 4 mana, 2 blue and 2 colorless, so he can just instantly bounce that Preacher. And he puts a card, he pays 2 to put a card under the Knowledge Vault as well. Takes the damage from his Serendib, dropping him to 15. Now, Barry he could have sacrificed that, he could have sacrificed that Preacher to gain a life with the Diamond Valley, but I think he's going to try and play it again. John comes in for the 4th attack with the Serendib, coming in for 3 more damage. 12 total, bringing Barry down to 8. Okay, so Barry does Sylvan Library. He plays Old Man of the Sea this time. And that's interesting. If you could get an Old Man and a Preacher both together. So he had a Sylvan Library on the top. He taps the Sinbad to draw it. It's not a land, so it gets discarded. So that's another way you can filter off the cards you don't need for even more drawing. And John pays the 4 to bounce the Old Man of the Sea, return it to Barry's hand with the activated ability of the Time Elemental. This is where the Time Elemental is just crushing. If you're not playing red and you're not playing Chain Lightning or Pyrotechnics or Falling Star, or if you don't have a Triskelion, you just, there's not very many ways to deal with the Time Elemental outside of red. Black has a lot of answers with Oubliette and things like that. Even Ashes to Ashes would be really good. But Barry is playing blue, white, green with his control deck, so he's really just up against the wall here with this matchup, being he doesn't have any real answer for Time Elemental at all, other than trying to steal it, but he can't keep his guys out long enough to do that with John's boomerangs and his quickly attacking Serendib. So he plays another Time Elemental and attacks in with a Serendib again. That Serendib has gotten in now for 15 damage. That is doing the work. Okay, let's see if Barry can Sylvan into anything here. I don't really think he has many outs. With that second Time Elemental, there's just nothing Barry could do. Okay, so he plays the Preacher because he gets another land, and he plays the Old Man, which, what happened there? Goes to the graveyard? Did he activate? Why did he block? No. Oh, I guess he sacrificed it to the Diamond Valley to gain some life. That's what he did. Interesting choice, because I guess John's got enough mana to bounce both of them. So now he just attacks in with the Dib again. 3 more. I think it's RIP for Barry this game for sure. Top deck's another Sylvan Library, but drawing it with the Sinbad to get it off the top. Now he can look at 3 more. Okay, so Barry plays his other preacher, and he ends up sacrificing it to the Diamond Valley when John tries to bounce it. Is John remember to take his life? Hey, Johnny, you remember to make sure you take your damage from your Serendib during your upkeep? I don't know if he actually remembered to do that. Okay, he's activating the factory, and he can attack 4, 5. Ugh, bringing Barry down to 1. So rough. It's just this Serendib is hit now for 18 damage by itself, just with that one Serendib. Okay, so Barry plays an old man and a Rubinia. Rubinia also taps and takes control of a creature, along with Old Man of the Sea tapping and taking control of a creature with power equal or less than the Old Man. He's a 2/3. Rubinia is the 3. I think she's a 2/3 as well. So he returns. He tries to bounce Rubinia, and in response, Barry sacrifices her and gains 3 life. Activates the Diamond Valley to do that. So he's just hanging on by a thread. Probably worth conceding here, unless he can just keep gaining life and hope that John's Serendib will kill him. Alright, so now he's gaining 3 more life with the Diamond Valley. It doesn't do John much good to strip mine the Diamond Valley because Barry's got 2 of them. But now John's activating his factory, making that a 2/2 creature, and coming in with the 2/2 and the 3/4 flying Serendib. So Barry activates Sinbad, draws the top card. It's an island. He can't block, but he can gain a life. So he blocks the factory and sacks it before damage. So he only took 3, which is a really good move, and got an extra card for it. But he's hanging on by a thread. He needs another blocker, and John's got 4 more islands sitting over there. He can activate his other time elemental to bounce Barry's other cards. So, I mean, when you got dueling time elementals in play, oh my gosh, it's just a nightmare. You're getting 2 permanents bounced per turn. You can't keep any creatures or any permanents in play when that happens. Time elemental is a powerhouse in Four Horsemen. Now this is interesting. Barry is playing Living Plane. That turns all of his lands, all lands in play, into creatures, 1/1 creatures. So John is activating the time elemental to bounce the Living Plane back. In response, Barry's sacking 2 of his 1/1s to gain 2 life from the Diamond Valleys. He's got plenty of land, so that'll take him back to 6. He can survive 1 more turn. John goes to 10 from the Serendib damage during his upkeep. Okay, and now activating the factory yet again, coming in for 5 damage. Ooh, interesting. So Barry has a divine offering, but John immediately reaches for his islands. And this is the problem with these instances, you can activate the time elemental on your permanents too. So in response to that divine offering, John can just bounce it back to his hand with his time elemental and play it again. Barry takes 3, goes from 6 down to 3. He's really hanging in there by a thread. I've been really impressed how much Barry has been able to try to hold on. That Serendib, there is a scenario where if Barry could just stay alive, that Serendib could damage John enough. Now, Barry casts Urnum Jin, but it's, with those time elementals, you just can't keep anything in play. It's so brutal. Such a brutal combo. Okay, but Barry can sacrifice it in response to the Diamond Valley. That gains Barry life equal to the toughness of the creature, and Urnum's a 4/5. So Barry gains 5 much needed life, and now he's back to 8. John's down to 9. If Barry can keep doing this, maybe there's a way for him to eke out a win just by surviving Diamond Valley, all his own creatures gaining life and letting John die from the Serendib. But that factory is the real problem. He needs a strip mine for that factory, and it'll just get bounced. Alright, so he takes 5 damage. He's back to 3. All right, and Barry looks like he played Sinbad, and John hits in for 5 more, and it's game. Okay, so that was rough. That was real rough particularly for Barry there. It's a real tough matchup, these two decks. Barry, Barry was saying, he's in a real tough spot. Let's go back and look at the deck pictures real quick. Let's take a look at Barry's sideboard. So Barry's got 2 Tawnos Coffins, some Angry Mobs, some Lifeblood, some Whirling Dervish. This is the other problem. Barry doesn't have hardly anything to deal with the time elementals, but the Tawnos Coffin actually give him a couple of outs, and he's got another Serendib and another Urnum Jin, so I think he could probably the City of Shadows is interesting. City of Shadows, let's pull that up real quick. So the City of Shadows, because he's got a couple of those in his deck. So this exiles a creature that you control, and you put a storage counter on the City of Shadows. So when someone does something to your creatures, you just put them in here. And you can tap it and add a mana for each counter on the City of Shadows. Interesting. Okay. So I think, those could probably come out for looking at his deck. You could take out the 2 City of Shadows and put in the two Tawnos Coffins. I don't see Maze of Ith in Barry's deck, and I thought Maze of Ith with Candelabra would be really good, but I don't see a Maze of Ith. I'm kind of surprised. I wonder if Barry, decided not to play it, or what he's going to do. I don't think the Whirling Dervish are really worth it. They cost double green, and they'll just get bounced with at some point. But Barry needs to be as aggressive as possible. So maybe it would be worth putting in the Whirling Dervish, because if he can get one turn 2 and keep hitting with it, John will have to deal with it, and that'll allow him to get his preachers out, or get his other creatures out. So maybe the Candelabras and the City of Shadows come out, and 2 Tana's Coffin and 2 Whirling Dervish can go in. I think since he's got 3 Sylvans and 3 Diamond Valleys, John's not playing Blood Moon or anything like that. He could take out a Sylvan Library and maybe one of the Living Plains and put in the extra Serendipifreed and Urnimgen. I think that's what I would do. Let's see where these guys are at. All right, they're shuffling up. For John, I don't think he needs to change anything. I think his deck is optimal. It's really optimal versus Barry. So if I were John, I think I would just leave it exactly as is. He might be able to even take out his Maze of Ith and put in a Old Man of the Sea of his own. That might be a pretty smooth move. But I really don't think he needs to. I think he could just run it just like it is. It's a really strong deck. All right, so let's get back over to the match. It'd be nice to see a 2-1 game for a change. We've had so many 2-0 sweeps in this tournament. We've got a lot of new players coming into Four Horsemen. We usually average around 15 to 20 players, somewhere in that range. We had 33 players in tournament 11. We had 22 or 23 players in tournament 12. So still really great turnout. And as we're moving to tournament 13, we've got 28 or 29 signed up as of today. So also a really pretty respectable turnout. So Barry will take the play. And I wonder how he sideboarded. I think that, getting rid of some of the slower stuff and some of those lands like the City of Shadows that may not be the greatest matchup in this deck here, popping in more creatures could maybe help him be more aggressive. Okay, so this is interesting. John gets a first turn workshop and first turn Fellwar Stone and just takes a point of mana burn, but now he's got 5 mana on turn 2, and he can play a turn 2 Clockwork Avian if he wanted to. But he also can just leave his Fellwar Stone and island up and just wait and mana drain something and drop something like a Triskelion or any one of his other cards. So he looks like he's definitely playing defensively here. Barry casts Sylvan Library. We're almost getting a peek at John's hand there. What's he got there? What you got there, John? Looks like a Mana Drain. Yep, right there on top. Looks like he's got a Mana Drain, a Remove Soul. What else has he got? Man, he's really flashing his hand. It's interesting that John would counter Sylvan Library. I guess he must have an extra Mana Drain. I don't really think it's worth counting Sylvan Library right now when he's going to want to counter those preachers and the Old Man of the Sea and stuff like that, so he can safely get out his time elementals. But it does give him a couple more mana, so he could power out a Triskelion here and still have 2 mana left to save for remove soul or mana drain with the couple islands that are left over. Yeah, it's really interesting that John decided to go ahead and mana drain that Sylvan. He's really, really weighing this carefully here. So he uses 1 mana and the Felwar mana. Wow, he's really going back and forth. He must have a real interesting decision to make. I mean, he's got the Clockwork Avians. He can play Jaloom Tome. He's got that Knowledge Vault. He's got Triskelions. So he likes just to play a Serendib Ifrit. And pass. Interesting. Okay. Well, that leaves him up mana where he can mana drain stuff if he needs to. Okay, he tries to play Serendib, and Serendib Ifrit, and it gets... John plays Remove Soul. John's got 4 Remove Souls and 4 mana drains, so he's got tons of counter ability. Okay, and now John plays an Old Man of the Sea of his own, so he can start... So he sideboarded in his Old Men. That's funny, to take out... So he can steal Barry's Preachers and Old Men. Okay, so now Barry plays a Serendib Ifrit of his own. And John only has a Workshop and an Island untapped, so he can't counter now. And Barry plays the Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale, which is really interesting. So now that's going to cause each creature to have an upkeep of 2. And so John pays the 2. That is really interesting. And he takes a damage. Alright, so John comes in with his Serendib, and Barry can block with his Serendib. They're both 3/4 flyers. And then John taps out to play Triskelion. Now that will level the field, because now John can use one of the counters from Triskelion and deal a 4th damage to that Serendib Ifrit, effectively leaving Barry creatureless. Brutal. Wow, what a killer move by John. So now Barry's got just a bunch of lands in the Tabernacle, no creatures in play, but John is tapped out. But with a Preacher in play, a Old Man of the Sea in play, and a Serendib and a Triskelion, Barry is staring down the barrel of a gun. All of his creatures are small. They're all power small enough, except Serendib Ifrit and Urnam Jin to be stolen by the Old Man of the Sea. So he can't play Preacher, he can't play Rubinia, he can't play an Old Man of his own. And if he does play a Serendib, John's got Triskelion there to do the extra damage. So Barry finds himself in a very difficult position here as well. The Triskelion's now a 3/3 with the 2 counters on it. So, wow, man. John hits in for 3, 2, and 3. He's getting in for 8. Dropping Barry to 9. Ouch. Rough. Okay, and Barry can't do anything, but he comes in again. John comes in on the attack again after paying the 3 upkeep for his creatures. On the attack step, Barry is casting Divine Offering, targeting the Triskelion. So John could shoot Barry for 1 and then shoot the Triskelion with the last arm, and that would prevent Barry from gaining the 6th life. The Triskelion would die. Or he could ping him for 2, and then he gains 6, so he would only net 4. Yeah, so he's doing 1 damage to Barry and 1 to the Triskelion, because he does not want Barry gaining 6 life, but still hitting in for 2 with the Old Man and 3 with the Serendib. So hitting in for another 5, bringing Barry down to a mere 3 life. It's looking really, really, really rough for Barry. Yep, there's that City of Shadows that I was thinking he should definitely sideboard out. And that is a really quick 2-0 sweep. Let's listen in to what the guys are saying here.
You got it, dude. Well,
yeah, I can steal it with this, or I can.
Yeah, you can just swing. You can just swing and kill me. So you got me, dude.
Well, I saved the mana drain too.
Yeah, I figured you did. I just kept drawing nothing I needed. There's a mana drain. That would have been nice.
Yeah, that was just like a really like a hyper aggressive start for me that time, being able to drain you and also have workshop and also, I don't know. It was a pretty good start for me.
I honestly I knew I shouldn't have blocked with the Serendib to Serendib. I should have just taken the 3 and then attacked. But
yeah, I mean that would have been fine with me too, because then you would have been taking damage from the Serendib. It was good with me either way, but
yeah.
It was good to be able to kill it.
All right, sweet.
All right, we did it.
We did it, man. We got rid of me.
All right, you want me to build a Forgotten Realms deck real quick so we can play some of that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that'd be cool. I got a deck I wanted to play test, man. That'd be cool.
All right, guys.
All right.
You can keep playing. I'll wrap the video up. Thanks for joining us and letting us do the video, Barry. And John, congrats on your win. You'll be moving on to the finals.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chad.
Okay, cheers, guys.
See you, man.
All right. Well, that match was really fast and really brutal for Barry. Barry's been a great player. He plays in Fallen Empires 40. He's got his own format he's starting called Forgotten Realms, which is the dark Fallen Empires and Homelands. And he's been playing in the last three Four Horsemen tournaments as well. So we appreciate his support and looking forward. We've been playing some of those Forgotten Realms matches, and they're quite fun, mixing in Homelands, Fallen Empires, and the dark. Really interesting and different card pool there. So John's Mono Blue Dr. No deck takes it down. So John will be proceeding to the finals, and depending on who emerges victorious from Philippe and Peter's semifinals match, they'll be facing off against John. Before we wrap up, check out Tournament 13. Lots of great prizes. Check out fourhorsemenmagic.com. Go to tournaments and click Tournament 13. Got some great giveaways, really cool prizes, updated banner restricted list. We're going to be starting this in just a couple weeks, March 29th, and running through the end of April. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we are signing off for the Tournament number 12 semifinals.